following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back. Bronx Roots, Michael Preminger, David Hubler, and me, Ralph Tyko, with the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. We're all here. David, Michael. Start with you, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm okay, I think.
Okay. I asked you guys what you wanted to talk about, and you mentioned cauliflower.
Cauliflower. It has cauliflower. It doesn't have any flavor, and I never liked it as a kid. I think maybe I was beaten up by a cauliflower salesman or something as a kid.
Excuse my ignorance, because I can't remember eating cauliflower. Have eaten cabbage. Is it close?
In terms of
close to broccoli.
Yeah, it's close to broccoli.
Okay.
Broccoli's green and cauliflower's white.
Yeah.
They're cousins. As a matter of fact, if you would look up vegetable cousins, they always get together on the holidays.
Okay.
St. Patrick's Day especially.
Oh, yes.
The green.
Coming up. Yeah, the green cauliflower. I mean, the green broccoli.
Well, I don't find cabbage or cauliflower tasty at all. So
no.
I do. But Michael, tell us where you get these delicious meals, and more importantly, tell us about your the wonderful thing you do. You go to senior homes, or is it one in particular?
I go to one particular one. It's called the Jewish Home for the Aging here in San Fernando Valley, and I talk with the people, or we play trivia. There are books that the different activity people give me, and we just and I ask questions, and hopefully they answer. The sad thing is, after all these years, like last week I said, "Where's Jerry?" I asked for this one guy, Jerry. He's gone. That's people just they're literally here 1 week, and a week later they're gone.
Yeah.
And they didn't seem sick, or obviously they're there.
Right.
But it feels good. I'm hesitating. My voice is like stuttering, only because most of the people that they bring into this room are sleeping. And if they're not sleeping, they don't respond. So it's just, it used to be more people, but I guess it's just at this time, there's maybe 4 or 5 people who respond, so it gets a little tougher to get participation. But it's a good feeling, and the people who are over the years now who have been awake, I do believe they appreciate the fact that I'm there.
I bet they look forward to it too.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, I appreciate being friends with somebody who cares enough to be there. You're doing great work. Yeah.
Thank you. So getting back to that's when I get a free meal, and and that's
when you came across.
There's a little deli, they call it. It's a little food place where visitors can, or the staff has to buy their own food. Most of them, but not volunteers. So their vegetables usually include cauliflower, and that's how we get back to cauliflower. And,
is there a number of people that volunteer with all different interests and skills? What have you?
Yeah, there are. There's actually 2 facilities, and so I never really see two people I know who volunteer. They play cards with the residents.
Right.
I think some do, we'll call it from our past, arts and crafts, and the facilities I'm in, I don't think they do too many activities, really physical activities. But in this other facilities, they do more. So there are a bunch of volunteers.
And there are people that are cognizant, and not everybody is sleeping in their chairs. People whose minds are alert, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay. And do they, like you mentioned, Jerry passed away. Do they bring in new people, or are there people filling?
Oh yeah.
beds?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
The waiting list, right?
It probably is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
what
getting
can I tell you? We're getting off the cauliflower subject.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's so much you can say about cauliflower.
Yeah, I didn't mean
actually,
to get so serious.
Actually, there is a.
I was hoping it would segue into something else, but.
Well, I can segue it, but I want to mention that there's.
Sorry. I apologize.
There is a. I think.
Just the cauliflower. Don't segue what Michael's doing.
No. I was going to mention though that there is a.
That's not what I meant. Yeah.
I knew a recipe where you make like a faux mashed potatoes out of cauliflower, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I forget how it was. One of these recipes, like from Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers or something. The idea was that you don't want to eat potatoes, but you can eat cauliflower. So who knows? I did it a few times, and it wasn't as bad as cauliflower on its own, or cabbage. Cabbage isn't. The funny thing about cabbage is that as sauerkraut, it's great, but as cabbage, it's terrible stuff.
I know. I love stuffed cabbage,
but not cabbage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What were your mother's delicacies? Mine was chopped liver.
Mine too.
Mm-hmm. With a grinder, right? One of those metal grinders that went to the countertop.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was like a vice. It clamped on like a vice. Yeah. Yes. And you made your own ground beef. You didn't buy ground beef in the butcher shop. You could, but you could also buy the beef and then grind it yourself in one of these grinding things. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember my mother doing it for beef, but I remember the.
Yeah, neither do I, because we had a good butcher across the street. I love.
Yeah, well, who didn't?
Street,
right.
So that you guys
across
would know
every
which
street.
side.
Yeah. There was a butcher on every street, right next to the candy store in some places. You know, that's one of the things I was thinking about before we went on. For a few days I've been thinking about this transition. I'm not getting maudlin, but this transition as you get older. The term an old curmudgeon. Well, you know, what is an old curmudgeon? And I figured out that an old curmudgeon is really somebody who didn't start out to be a curmudgeon, but is so overwhelmed by all the things that he does not know and does not want to know. That's the key, you see. You get older and you say, I don't need to know this. You know, I mean, they say, you never stop learning. You never stop learning. Well, in some cases you do, because there are certain things that you really don't want to know, and you don't need to know them. Like I've got 4 pages here of that I've written down that I printed out. 4 pages of passwords. It's true. 4 pages of passwords, and then you go onto a site that you just want to. Even getting onto a site is something that you have to learn. And you get on this thing, and it says, ask for your name. Okay, that's not a problem, and your email address. But then it asks for your password, and I'm so turned off by these things that I just say, hell with it. I can live without whatever that thing was I was looking at, because I don't need another password in my life. But it's true.
You have to judge how important it is to work with the crazy technology to get what you want out of the computer. That's what it amounts to.
Well, I mean, and that's another thing in terms of computerization. They assume, I forget, I had to do something. Oh, I was making I guess that was a doctor's appointment. That's what I do a lot of in my spare time. I make doctor's appointments. Sometimes I don't even know who the doctor is. I just make an appointment because I have nothing to do. So I can't help it. You know, the name looks nice. But
you get a nice waiting room to sit in.
You got to find one that has good magazines, new magazines.
Right.
You go to most places, it's like going to a library because you wind up with, you know, we talked about magazines on the other show, about sports magazines. Well, you can go into a doctor's office and you can find Mickey Mantle on the cover of one of them as Rookie of the Year. You know, if you
I believe.
The last time they changed magazines.
Yeah, I mean, they, you know, and all they do is clip off the name of the person who donated the magazine. But this whole thing about learning all this, so they immediately asked for my cell phone number. Well, I have a cell phone. I don't carry it with me 24 hours a day. I rarely ever get a call that means anything, and so I don't give out the number. I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to be tied to this or chained to this little tiny device like so many other people. I went to the mall yesterday, and I'm walking around, and it was early. The mall had just opened. And all of these people, I guess, were waiting for the stores to open. They were just standing around looking at these little devices in their hands. And I said, you know, why? I said, I had mine with me, but there was nothing. And if you look at these things now, they're more ads than anything else. Email used to be something. You got email. Somebody sent you something. Now it's all ads. It's all just, and I don't need to know all of these things. So I become a curmudgeon. I sent in my membership and I've got a card, and now I'm a curmudgeon, official curmudgeon, and I don't mind it at all.
If you or I or Ralph, if we were in our 20s and we were talking about this, we could be comedians.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But,
yeah.
You know, that's what a comics talk about. So because you passed a certain age now, as you just said, David, you send in for your card and you become a curmudgeon. So that's bullshit, right? Why can't we
and why can't you
say
be
what
young
we feel
curmudgeon
without being, oh, you're an old guy?
Why is it a curmudgeon has to be old? You can't.
Well, it doesn't.
First of all,
but it doesn't.
Young and hard. We're all old in one respect, but we're young and hard. But a good curmudgeon starts early. By 25, 30, you got it down.
No, you got it down, but you're not called a curmudgeon. I mean, it's like, you know, because you're just a contrary person that nobody likes. But you can be a curmudgeon and be liked because you're so unusual among the people who are,
Andy
younger.
Rooney comes to mind.
Yeah, Andy Rooney was a great curmudgeon. Yes, absolutely. And he lived it. He lived it. He loved it. If he were alive today, boy, would he have material to write about.
Oh.
You know?
And there were guys there were guys that played that role on talk shows like What's My Line? I remember Harry Morgan was a
he was
Henry Morgan.
Henry. Right. Harry
was just a pain in the ass. He was,
right.
I don't know about a curmudgeon, but you're right, Ralph. He was. Everything was. He just had a smirk on his face, like he didn't want to be there, and I didn't want him there either. But nobody listened to me. But that's a
like
perfect
he was above
example.
it all. Like Dorothy Kilgallen was a female curmudgeon. The way I look at it, she was grumpy.
Yeah. Well, if you look like Dorothy Kilgallen, you might be grumpy too. I mean, she was not a looker. I don't know how she got on television. I mean, but
no,
early
I remember
days of television.
Frank Sinatra saying two things about Dorothy. She says, if you're ever out there and you run into Dorothy Kilgallen, make sure you're in your car.
Oh!
I thought the line was going to be, please do.
Right. Might as well.
Oh.
But, you know, I figured out, too, that there's like a curmudgeon meter. You become a curmudgeon when all the things you know are equal to all the things that the younger people know, but they're going to know a lot more because they're still young and learning. Whereas we are maybe learning, but learning reluctantly, let's say, in many cases. We don't need to learn our passwords. We don't need to learn, you know, how to turn on the car. You had to learn turn on the lights in your house from your car, and you're driving 20 miles away, and you can turn on your lights in the house. What do you want to do that for? I mean, all these crazy things, and so you have to wire your whole house completely different. I mean, there are people around who can still remember when, you know, having flush toilet in the house was something special. But to be able to turn your lights on from 20 miles away, what's good for?
Yeah.
You're just burning electricity and there's nobody there.
What that is technology for technology's sake.
Yes.
No other reason. Just
to
make somebody rich with some, Hazarai that really nobody cares about, and will be in a box in 2 months, too. You get these things, if they're not out of style or, like an old beeper, buzz me, that type of thing.
Oh, I thought you were talking, when you said in the box, I thought you were making a reference to the Grim Reapers and...
Yeah, that's what no. They'll
in the
put
box.
The stuff in the box and put it in the garage.
Put it away, because you'll never use it again. I know.
It's useless.
But so much of that stuff was simple and easy to use. And it was simple and easy to use because we didn't have anything more sophisticated. But
what you were saying about young people, and they'll get more knowledge, and they'll use that knowledge, and all this use. That's a very Chauvian statement, George Bernard Shaw.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. I don't know if you subscribe to him as a person that was on the right track.
I get his magazine.
Yeah.
The Chauvian Times.
Really?
Send me a copy?
I will. I'll put you on a subscription list.
Thank you.
Well, me too.
I'll give you my password.
Yes, you need a password to get the magazine.
Well, here's a little hint about keeping password lists. If all these sites, if you don't know your password, you could just write your email in, and they'll send you a new password. It's almost safer than keeping a list, because if you have a list and you lose the list or somebody steals the list, they can get into your passwords. But unless they know your email, that would preclude that. So all these sites you can recover your password easily.
Yeah, but they give you a temporary password that doesn't last forever.
But then you can go in there and change your password.
I know, but then you have to put it on your paper and change the whole thing all over again.
Did anyone ever use the word?
You wouldn't have a paper anymore. Next time you need to go in, you lose it again, and they'll give you another temporary one.
But
remember,
but the temporary doesn't last.
Temporary, for Christ's sake.
Right, and but they don't. If you keep changing your passwords, you'll never remember them. I mean, I can remember half a dozen of them because those are the ones I use most frequently. But
did anyone ever use the word password as a
yes.
password?
Yes, yes, and they frown on that very, very much.
Oh, okay.
They even rate your passwords for safety now.
Yes, that's true.
See, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It'll turn up green if it's good, amber if it's not so good, red, don't use it, you know.
Oh, now you're getting your password read. Oh, gee whiz, leave me alone.
This is what I mean. I don't need this, you know. But we're trapped in it. We're like in a boat, in a river. We can't get out of the boat. We can't get out of the river. We just have to keep floating along or being pushed along, you know, because that's what we've got. That's how we're living in. We're living in that kind of age, and that makes us, you know, kind of grumpy because a lot of the things that we have to do, we don't really want to do.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that.
Do computers add to the quality of life or detract from the quality of life? Start with you, Michael.
Ooh, what a good question. I would say they do add to the quality of life. No, I don't think so. To the ease of finding things, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I for the quality, ooh, that's a good one. I'd lean towards the curmudgeon side. So.
Only on occasion. I'd say occasionally they add to, but it's like the cell phone. I'm very much against this notion. People buy these belt-sized things. They can keep their cell phone hooked to their belt, like, you know, like a gun, like the old cowboys kept guns on. But why? I have never gotten a call on my cell phone. I had the same cell phone now for maybe 7 years, 8, and I've never gotten a call of any importance. And now I'm getting more of these damn nuisance calls, you know. It's just awful. Robocalls, yes. I even signed up for one of these services, free service, that's supposed to knock out the call before you can pick it up. I haven't seen any evidence that it works. You're supposed to not pick up the phone until after the second ring, because by then they know and they kill it. But I have not.
Oh, I see.
Well, there is an app you can buy for that, and it works well. However, it gives you a little beep when a phone call comes in. So if that disturbs you, if the call disturbs you, that's going to disturb you because you got to beep. You got to look who called. And
well, it shows up on my landline when somebody calls.
Shows
I
up
don't
on
know.
the TV.
The TV.
Oh, don't you? If you're watching, I don't know, Comcast, for instance.
I get that. I get that sometimes.
Oh, really?
If you're watching TV and you get a phone call on your Comcast line, it will show up.
Oh, thank goodness I have Verizon. They don't do that. The last thing I need is to be interrupted while I'm watching TV with something on the phone. I can hear the phone ring, but I don't have to pick it up.
Right.
Yeah.
You can ignore it.
I mean, I still have a landline. I like the landline. I
do too.
Yeah, it's comforting. You know you have a telephone.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to leave a message, they leave a message.
But you know what? Your landline is a computer as well. you're talking into a computer.
Yeah, but you're not. But you're just not showing up on your TV screen, or it's like Big Brother. I mean, pick up the phone in the middle of a movie or something.
Right. All right, let's talk Academy Awards, because that's something that I have no knowledge. I don't go to movies, to be honest. I don't follow them.
Oh.
So why do you want to know what the Academy Awards?
Well, I want you guys to talk and amongst yourselves and tell me what you liked about the Academy Awards and what you liked about not having a host and what you disliked about it. David, start.
I must be honest with you. I have never watched the Academy Awards.
Really?
My wife watches it. Oh, I go to bed in another room because it's just a lot of noise. I mean, if I go to a movie, I see a good movie, I like it, I go. If I like the premise of the movie, whatever. But I don't do that. I can't. I never watch any of these award shows. They mean nothing to me. I must tell you though, the only award show I ever watched that really riveted my attention was I was in New York visiting a friend. This goes back years when cable TV was new, and cable TV at night was not your average Howdy Doody show, believe me.
Right.
So I forget, it was a Manhattan cable company, I forget, and they were televising the Miss Nude World contest. Well, that caught my eye. True story. And they had these girls come up one at a time, and they were just wearing a sash. That was it, to show what country they supposedly represented.
Oh. That's funny right there.
Yeah, I know, because most of them didn't even know what country, where it was in the world. They were just coming up on the stage and being, introduced, and they were supposed to say a few words. Not one of them was asked what their talent was at that point. But that was the only sort of award show I've ever really enjoyed. I never saw it again, though. I don't know whatever happened to it.
Okay. Are you an Academy Award aficionado, Mr. Preminger?
Oh, well, movie Green Book, which I recommend, in case you guys haven't seen it.
No, I haven't.
Oh.
Okay.
That one for Best Picture. And
now, there was all kinds of controversy about the host or lack of host.
Oh, I don't know. To me, they didn't need a host. Well, they were lucky, but this is just me. They opened with the music from Queen, We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions. And that's, right. I love those two songs, so for me, I was glad that's what they opened with, and then they went right into the awards. They didn't, even though they had Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and, what's the other girl's name? These three girls, Maya Rudolph, came out together, and they actually did about 3 minutes of jokes. So that was kind of the host. So it was fine.
It broke the ice, at least.
But you guys have an advantage because you're watching it on West Coast time when it starts, at 5 in the afternoon?
Yeah, exactly.
Here it's 8 o'clock at night, and I'm not sitting up to watch the thing to its end.
It didn't end till after, it was like 3 hours and 17 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
You can watch and then go have supper, have dinner.
Yeah, we have an advantage with sports as well. We could watch sports early in the morning.
Oh, I don't think so. Not with baseball. I think because one of the
Eastern teams are on in California really early.
the few games I've seen on the West Coast live, one of the great joys of watching baseball, as opposed to almost any other sport, because if you think about it, it doesn't happen. One of the is to watch the out-of-town scoreboard for other games. Now, when you go into a game in the West Coast, half of three-quarters of that out-of-town scoreboard is already in the F's finals.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't get that sense of, gee, what's going on over there? If the Yankees win here, but Boston may lose, that Boston's playing now. It's things like that. I think is one of the great features of the game is that you can. But it's only on the East Coast, maybe in the Midwest. But I remember I was so disappointed. I went to Dodger Stadium for the first time, and I looked, and all the games are finished except the games, on the West Coast. There's, some of the suspense of a pennant race is removed that way.
It took me a long time to get used to the fact that during the football season, games are on at 10 in the morning here.
Yeah.
And then when I would go back east, I'd go at 10 o'clock, I go, well, where are the games?
Yeah.
And it just...
but think about it for a second. They don't...
Yeah.
You go to a pro football game. I don't do it very often. I don't do it for years now. But fans don't sit there watching out-of-town scores because they don't even broadcast out-of-town scores for the most part. Whereas baseball is unique in that respect. Hockey, they don't tell you what's going on in other towns. Same thing in the NBA. You don't get... But with baseball, you got those great scoreboards out there now. You can even, some of them, like the one in Nat Stadium, is really terrific because it has little diamonds, so you can tell the man on first and second, so-and-so's pitching, and you can actually, sort of recreate the game in your head by following all those little boxes. And it's wonderful because if the game you're watching is kind of dull or it means something, really means something, and you're watching the scoreboard for maybe one or two other games, hey, that's part of the fun.
Well, part of the technology today is that you could literally get your games on your devices, and you can go from one game to another, and you can also get every radio game, every baseball game on the radio, both home and away broadcasters, for $20 a year.
A year?
A year.
MLB.com. And to get them all on television, to get every game on your device or your computer, it's only $26 a month if you want to do it, if you want to get the TV.
Well, I
have a hard time watching.
I could live without that
baseball game. I like to have it in my ear, so to speak, like a transistor radio.
I have a shuffleboard app.
There are golf apps.
Beating the Brown fell. They keep it here at the. There's a senior citizen center here, and you can get all the scores 24 hours a day, all the shuffleboard scores.
Okay.
And on the cruise ships too? Does it cover the cruise ships?
Cruise ships? I'm working on that.
Okay. You were saying one lady what?
She's so much better than everybody else that they don't know what to. She needs her own league. Actually, she's undefeated in 7 years. They haven't beaten her. Shuffleboard Sally, they call her. And boy, she's tough.
A future Hall of Famer.
She wears a little disc on the top of her head, a little. And she's terrific. A good sense of humor. Good sense. She's supposed to tell you Ukrainian jokes. I don't know where she picked that out, but she's all right. So if you want to know the score, just let me know. I have a question.
Sure.
You guys probably discussed this. I would guess before about. So tell me that you'd already talked about Bryce Harper. Did you already go over?
No,
that?
we haven't actually.
No, we haven't. But
strangely enough.
And especially, David, you with Washington. I mean, he left to go in the same division.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and
well,
it's the Mets division too, so that doesn't thrill me.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dodgers offered him. I didn't realize the Dodgers offered him $45 million a year for 4 years.
Right. Yeah, I heard that too.
And he turned that down because you got to feed your family. What the hell? What is?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that contract? You think it's? I mean, are we now into monopoly money? It's just so insane.
Well, not just the money; it's the length of the contract.
Yeah.
Like
yes. Right.
Years.
Yep. Yeah.
13 years.
Yeah.
He'll be 39 years old.
Yeah.
If he's playing by then, it would shock me. Absolutely shock me because that's crazy. But again, they figure if they could win 2 or 3 pennants in the early years, they just write off the rest of it. And,
yeah.
Well, what the writers in Washington were saying that every time there are going to be 19 games between the Phillies and the Nats.
Yes.
And so every time the Phillies come into Nats Park, they're going to have a lot of fannies in the seats, as they say, because they're going to want to see what Harper does against the Nats. And so I don't know. I think it's an incredibly large amount of money. You could never really spend that kind of money, even if But one of the things what the Nats wanted to do was to have a large amount of the money. They offered $300. I think they offered $330, but they were with lots of deferred payments. So he would not get fully paid until he was like 65 or something. They figured out. Yeah, so that's why he turned that down, or his agent.
Sure, he'd be a curmudgeon.
He'd be yes, right.
By then.
Although there are players now who say, not players so much as fans and sports writers who call him a curmudgeon. They don't call him a curmudgeon, they just call him, not a nice guy.
Who, Bryce Harper?
Yeah, but I've never seen that. I don't know. I loved watching him play. I mean, it was just, they hit these enormous home runs, just the way Mantle used to do with somebody, just towering blasts. But it's not my money, so I have no say in it. But
let me give you a synopsis of what Bill Cashadas, who does a podcast on the network on Philadelphia baseball. And I wrote him a little note earlier in the week and a little email. I said, Billy, what do you think of the contract? You're a Philadelphia fan. This, that, and the other thing. He writes back, I am not happy, capital letters, happy with the Phillies signing to 13 years, $330 million, and here's why. The contract has no opt-outs. No trade clauses, no deferred money. Harper is also injury prone. He gets seriously injured, and the Phillies are screwed. But not so much so. He gets seriously injured. They have insurance policies for that.
Sure.
Right.
And so I don't think they're screwed horribly, but I go on. Obviously, the Phillies haven't learned anything from Ryan Howard, who was extended to a $125 million guaranteed contract, tore up his Achilles tendon, and the contract became an albatross. He goes on to say, Harper is no longer the 5-tool player he was earlier in his career. over the last few seasons, he has proven to be a slugger and not much more. And we'll get into that in a second because I think the whole game is just looking for a slugger and not just more.
Yeah, but I understand where he's coming from, and he's right. But it's hard to call a guy a slugger who strikes out so many times, and just. Is that a slugger? He hits a home run. I mean, I just said it. His home runs are magnificent to watch, but he strikes out a hell of a lot of them. There are weeks will go by where he just swings and misses. And I'm a big Harper fan. Don't get me wrong, but I think everyone says his defense in center field is lacking. He's no DiMaggio out there.
Is he a guy that fans love to root for?
That's a good question. Here in town they did, yes. Even though he was disparaged by other members of the press and some other. Don't forget, he got into that fight with his teammate, Papelbon. Papelbon was choking him in the dugout, literally choking him, and they had to break it up because he didn't run out. A third strike that was missed or something really basic. But from what I've seen and what I've read, most of the players really like the guy. He's just very intense ball player. If you can get by that, you can say, yeah, I like the guy.
But generally, is he a hustler, or was that just an exception?
No, generally he is. You see him on the base there. He is fast, and he runs hard. He really does, and he has a good throwing arm. So he's not a detriment out in the outfield. Although I guess he's not as fast or as smooth as some of the other ball players who play center field regularly. Because he didn't play it regularly, but when he did,
is he going to play right field though?
I don't know what he's going to play actually there. But I mean, but you're right, and your correspondent is right about, one bad. Look at what happened with what's his name? The Yankees got him from the Red Sox. They stole him from the Red Sox, and he hasn't played like in 2 years, and they're committed.
Oh, Ellsbury.
Jacoby Ellsbury, right. The guy, he doesn't play at all, and they're paying him this unbelievably large sum of money to stay home. He doesn't even suit up. He's on like a 100-year DL.
Yeah, he's rehabbing a bunch of stuff. I think he had multiple injuries that are contributing to it. Well, anyway, Billy from Philly concludes that no player is worth $350 million.
I agree with Billy from Philly.
Okay. And he doesn't care what the market bears. MLB is destroying itself because of the greed from both the owners and the players. And there's a lot of truth to that.
They keep talking about what is Mike Trout going to get in 2 years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I read something this morning that the Angels are thinking or talking about trying to get him to extend his contract for 10 years at about the same amount that Bryce Harper had.
Well, what is he? He's 26, isn't he? Trout?
I believe so, yeah.
Because he was 2 years younger than Harper.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, that's what I read. Yeah, but I mean, so when does a 10-year extension on top of what? What's his contract now?
He's already got a contract going for 2 more years this year.
Oh, so it's just 2 years. Okay, so he'd be 30. So they're going to give him a 10-year contract?
Bryce Harper is a little older, and he's getting a 13-year contract.
Well, isn't he 26? Because he said the other day in an interview that 13 years, and he says, so I'll be 39 at the end of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're both 26.
Maybe. I know they're close in age, yeah. I couldn't swear to one or the other.
I know they send each other cupcakes for a birthday party.
Cupcake, yes.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
With a little
cupcakes.
whipped cream on the top and maybe a cherry.
Huh?
And you know what I just read? They're cauliflower cupcakes.
Hey!
Ooh, yay.
and you know what, Ralph? You wouldn't be far wrong. You know that there is going to be everything can be made from vegetables. Isn't there, what is it, chocolate cake that's...
oh, yeah, without flour.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's one of those diet crazy things.
Yeah.
Well, just avoid the Soylent Green.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. Well, with soy sauce, you never know. You can.
Yeah, you never know. I liked Harry. He always had good taste.
Harry?
Harry from I made up a name, but.
Oh. Okay.
Just. All right. Hey guys, good show.
Yes.
As usual.
Yes, fun. Yes.
It is fun, and I'm glad we're doing it. That's the
Me too.
best thing I can say. You want to bring a little Bronx in there? Is there anything we could talk about that incorporates the Bronx before we close?
Well, it's very interesting to me. The Congress girl, Congresswoman person from the Bronx. What's her name? Octavia Cortez.
Yeah, there's another name.
Right, she's a pistol.
Boy, boy.
Did you watch her during the Cohen investigation?
No, I didn't.
Right on.
She was terrific. By the way, talk about the Bronx. I did learn something from watching the hearing parts of it. I didn't get all of it, and then all the newscasts. Now, I and many other people in the Bronx would have said Michael Cohen, like a pine cone. But if you listen to the inflection of the announcers, it was Cohen, like Cohen. So they are probably correct in the formal sense of the word, but I didn't hear anyone say Mr. Cohen. You know, tell us. No, it's Mr. Cohen. Cohen.
Hey,
really?
I didn't hear anybody say, "Hey, Jew boy, are you going to answer my question?"
Thank goodness.
Yes.
That would surprise me.
So I said, well, that's a nice way to say it, Cohen. I'm going to try to remember that from now on, Cohen. Yeah.
Well, who was it who had the statue? And
George M. Cohan. George M. Cohan. That's an A-N. It is an E-N. Yeah.
Right. What a great show that was, where he danced around.
Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Yankee Doodle Dandy, right.
One of my favorite all-time movies. Absolutely.
Yes.
I love to watch that movie. I just wish they had shot it in color.
Oh. Yeah.
I think
remember when Turner Classic Movies first started, they would colorize
That's
some
right.
of the movies.
Yeah.
And I think the reaction was obviously negative because they stopped doing it.
Yeah, especially among directors who were still alive, because it was a degradation of their work. They did not They said, if I don't remember who, but the idea was if I wanted to make it in color, I would have made it in color.
Right.
Now that film Roma that was up for an Academy Award, that was in black and white.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And there's another wonderful movie. It's called The Photographer of Mauthausen. The concentration camp. I just watched it. It's a Spanish language movie. It's on Netflix. It is terrific. I don't know why that thing wasn't nominated for an Academy Award. It all takes place in the Mauthausen concentration camp. but they were holding Spanish communists who had lost the battle, the Civil War in Spain. It's a great story. I heartily recommend it if you get a chance to watch it on Netflix.
David, a fiction or it's?
I don't know. I think it's based on fact. Because at the very end they say something. The Spanish communists lost the battle against the Royalists led by Franco. So they were put into they didn't know what to do with these captured. So the Nazis took them and put them in this Mauthausen concentration camp. So I guess it's fiction based on fact, I would say. But it's just a terrific movie. Terrific movie.
We've got a movie to look for this week, and I thank you guys. We'll be back next week, same time, same bat station.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Speak to you then.
Michael Preminger and David Hubler. I'm Ralph Tyko, the weak link of it all. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and stay healthy, my friends.
Yes.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The proceeding was a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production. Thank you for listening.